Hey YouTube, Film Geek here, and this week I'm going to be focusing on my personal favorite action star, Jackie Chan. And I'm kicking everything off with his 1983 film, Project A.
You dirty my best suit. I do apologize. Oh, don't bother, big head. Oh. You can make two choices, pal. You're gonna say you're sorry, or else. But I can't do that. I don't know how.
Project A is starring and directed by Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung, and it's the story of a Coast Guard sergeant who has to protect his town against a bunch of pirates. That's right, Jackie Chan versus pirates. You can't get much better than that. Regarded as one of the most groundbreaking movies in Hong Kong action cinema, up to this point, Hong Kong movies didn't have the big scale sets and attention to period detail that lavished this movie. It was the first to have a mixed variety of action sequences and not just rely on martial arts, which pretty much set the tone for Jackie Chan's entire movie career. This is also the first of his films that he almost killed himself while doing a stunt. The big stunt of the film focuses on a big clock tower in the town, and Jackie Chan wanted to pay homage to one of his favorite actors from the early days of cinema, and that was Buster Keaton. So he did a stunt where he was dangling by the hand of the clock and eventually falls. Now when he fell, there was no real safety equipment. Jackie actually thought that the awnings were going to be enough to break his fall, which no, he ends up turning upside down and landing straight up on his head. The fall almost killed the man. But what did Jackie do? Well, he took it 2 more times. The first fall is the one that's actually in the movie. And then later on when they show outtakes and all, they use the third fall. What do I love about Project A? Alright, now even though Police Story is considered Jackie Chan's big movie that made his career, I think this movie was really his big turning point. It's really what set the mood for what was going to be Jackie Chan's entire career in the martial arts films. You see, before this, they were almost always the same type of story. Young student has a fight, he finds some guy that's wronging a town, and then he goes out, tries to stop the guy. He gets beat up at first, but don't worry, he finds a martial arts master that teaches him some secret technique, goes back to fight the guy. Boom, story, there you go. This was the first of Jackie's film that took things on a much bigger scale and set the tone for his comedy and everything else. Alright, I mentioned the comedy aspect, and that is a Jackie Chan trait. What you're going to find out this week is that Jackie blends a great deal of physical comedy with his martial arts, and this movie has it in droves. This is really where he started to show off his entire style, and it's where we get to know the Jackie that we know today. Another thing that's interesting about this movie also is it picks a really interesting time in Hong Kong to focus on, and that's around the turn of the century. This is still when Hong Kong was under rule of Britain, and that lasted from 1841 to 1997. Hong Kong was under British control. That's why if you get a hold of some old VHSs or if you find copies of these old Hong Kong movies from back in the day, every one of the actors has a British accent when they dub it. And you won't find subtitled versions of these movies. It's hilarious to watch these Hong Kong movies under British rule when you see Jackie Chan with a British accent. I love going back and watching old Jackie Chan movies so I can see Jackie with British accent. It just kills me. And this is a great film. So it's a different time period than you're used to with Jackie Chan, the turn of the century. In fact, it's a different time period than you're used to in most Kung Fu films. So it's really fun, it's a different setting, and I just absolutely love this movie. So if you have not heard of Project A, if you haven't seen Project A, it's out there. When Jackie Chan became big in the United States, Miramax bought up a ton of his movies from Hong Kong. This is one of the movies that was part of that, and it's also got a sequel, which we're going to learn about Thursday. So hey, thanks again for checking out the Film Geek, guys. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and as I always say, folks, keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.